aren't necessarily into the real player sort of side of pro clubs, but I always find it helps me making builds. It helps me think about like the tactics we play, either drop-ins, full 11s. You know, you're on with 3 or 4 mates. And the way I like to do it is I like to work around teammates. At the moment, I've been playing out on the right and sort of centre mid, so I thought I'd show you my level 92 creator build. My other builds, we're getting there. We're getting there. To be fair, it's pretty high up on like, you know, level 80s, 95s, 93s. I'm almost afraid to finish a few of them because it gets rid of that sort of replayability that I find sometimes. And when I will be showing you all these other builds and the sort of build specific characters I've gone with, this is where I tend to struggle with thinking of who to do next, right, or who fits the system. But at the moment, I've used a level 92, it's currently at, creator for David Beckham. Now let me give you a little tour. You can follow face tutorials online. I've noticed there's lots of face tutorials or build guides on the most meta creations out there, but there's not really a market so far for this sort of real player aspect to the game. So I think I'd like to try and fill that gap. So if I give you a little tour here, we're going creator because of the specialization. Especially if you're sort of that right-sided, you don't necessarily need the pace that comes with some of the winger builds. Currently sitting at an 86, 82, but that's because the body stats sort of really bringing it down on certain ways. A little bit boosted pace so you can stay competitive. You're not going to be doing too much defending as David Beckham, either if you're in the middle as a playmaker, 10, mostly 8, sort of right-sided 8, or out there on the right wing, right mid even. So it's more of a competitive pace. But you can think you could rock with a 78 pace, you could rock with early, like low 80s. Just don't be pushing it to the 90s because he's not really about that. So these are the sort of body stats: 6 foot, 163. I always try to go off either FIFA card accurate, icon card accurate, or going back football managers and even real life stats you can Google. It's always one search away. It's never too hard. This specific creator comes with a specialization. Assistant is one of the key. It's always into the box, I believe. In the opponent's half actually. So you're going to be playing on that sort of in possession, maybe even halfway line in the attack. Just right half space. If you didn't see Beckham play yourselves, he's going to be coming more onto that sort of Kevin De Bruyne crossing angle, if you know what I mean, or Trent even. You could play in a right back in a full 11 as well, but the pace and defending would let you down. If you were sort of a high possession team, or you needed that sort of creative spark, he's kind of your guy. Playstyles, common game changer. I think I took off the I took off inventive purely because the curve you can get with LT or L2 if you're PlayStation, the curve you can get with that without inventive, I feel sort of masterfully creates, and same with the incisive. It adds that bend, but it doesn't add like a real. You never saw David Beckham hitting, a 40-yard trivela. So I thought I'd take that one off. And quick step, I haven't quite got to that level yet on this one because I'm not usually a 92, and I'm praying that I don't really get there. It would be useful, and I think off the ball especially, but you're not going to be really running through large amounts of space with David Beckham. You could. I'm thinking still got one playstyle silver spot left, so I'm thinking you want to either do first touch probably, or you can even just shooting one if you're a madman and you want to put power shot on. You could do that, or low driven even if you're that. But I wouldn't bother with any tricksters or rapids. I mean, he doesn't even really need the rapid. You know what, rapid wouldn't be too bad. I'm thinking first touch, but even right now I don't think that's necessary. Chip shot would be good. So there's a couple of options still to work with for that sort of final slot there. All these other ones just make total sense, to be fair. What we're going on to next is the actual build itself. You can take screenshots. Some of these, just remember, I'm accounting for effect of the body attributes. I'm pretty sure this club's a fresh club for these, so yeah, no facilities boost on right now. And yeah, you wanna make sure that you're which one was it now for the architect, I believe. Yeah, you just want to make sure you're hitting the actual limits for these to make sure you get your specialization. If you're a lower rated build, obviously, you reset that. So yeah, take a screenshot if you will with this one. It's still progress. I've still got like 3 levels to go. Probably going to throw it into Not much really. I might even bit more shooting, bit more finishing and volleys possibly, but I'm in no rush. Maybe some positioning. It's pretty much a done build. I won't lie. Yeah, as I said before, there's plenty of face tutorials out there on YouTube for your David Beckhams, all your characters in the world. Mine's going to be more focused on the builds themselves to try and make them as authentic as possible. Let me show you some of the. He got there himself. It's not too bad. I've not followed to a T, but it sort of gets me by and gets the gist. You got a really tucked in shirt, and it's obviously the Adidas Predators from '98. It's got to be done. David Beckham classics. You could do each era David Beckham. If you've got the tattoos to use, you could fully cover him. Not really my thing. I don't always, unless it's like a player who outwardly, shows off the tattoos. I'm so Craig Bellingham, because if you think about that Greece qualifying free kick, this is exactly the celebration. You've got Whip It, because they don't have his. I think it's James Ward-Prowse's free kick, and the hands on hip is almost a bit too similar to the sort of default ones for me, and he's not exactly pulling out a Ronaldo. So I go and Whip It just because he throws his arm up in the air a little bit, and it helps me with the actual free kicks, which I'll show you in a second. You go with the Ranger, because this is actually David Beckham's animation, so it's absolutely perfect for penalties. It's annoying that I wish it was the exact same animation for free kicks, to be honest with you. Running style, I've gone with the General. I'm always quite particular about my running styles, and anything sort of close to default for these 90s players. Got Game is good as well, but I always feel it's a little bit sluggish and slow with animations. So the General's what I've gone with, because it shows a bit of fight. It's quite a standard run style. It's not too bad. These are animations. You could put. I never really bother with birth years or anything. Usually just nation, name, and number. I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to sort of numbering and stuff. So you'll see a lot of that in other videos. David Beckham. Now to show you just sort of the benefits of the build. Show you some of the skill games. If we head to his one of the crossing drills. I'm not going to be going for a perfectionist run on this, I won't lie to you. I just want to show you that it gets the gist. This is the sort of area you're going to be operating in the attack. You're not exactly a byline winger, so you're not going to be pushing too high. You just sort of set in, crossing it in, making trouble. This is exactly it. It's a very static build. If that suits you, if it doesn't, you might need to think of another. But if you go high and across, you can get, if you're linking it with especially a target build or someone who's sort of line breaking in behind, you can really hit those kind of passes. Putting it into space, he's an absolute master. That's why that right centre mid option, if you're sort of further in, you can sort of float him in into the danger area, always right sided, because as I'll show you now, it's absolutely pointless from the left. Never really. You'd be hard pushed to find a game where David Beckham ever played out that way. So it still works though. If you're a left sided man, and you will always be one, sort of stuck in the ways, this still works. So it's always doable. Now I wanted to quickly show you the free kicks, just mostly from an animation set point. I have a very in-game sense when it comes to free kicks that if it's not my range, I'm not going to score it. But sometimes, if you get your sort of idea of it right, you can pull off something special. See, I'm just proving the pudding that I'm not the club set piece taker. On occasion, if I win it though, it's one of those 2 week. This is a really poor showing for me for this example, but I'm always quite a dominant right-sided free kick taker as well. So I'm never really that sort of dipping in behind the wall. This keeper's really not helping me out for this demonstration of how good the free kicks are on this build. But sometimes this is just poor from me. It's just if you're a master of free kicks as well, you know how to, you've followed the David Beckham tutorial, you've just got that natural sort of free kick taking nous. This is probably the build for you, but I am, as you can very much tell, not the one to be doing these. But, the style is sort of right. There you go. First one went in, cut the stream, that's it done. I don't know, it really depends on your sort of nous. Yeah, there we go. We'll call it a day there. But yeah, you can really get that sort of David Beckham aspect to it. It's more about the in-game sort of play yourself. You're going to be having to do a lot of sitting and waiting is almost the style of play you're going to be wanting. You're going to be wanting to be in this space on the pitch, sort of assessing big switches, crossing into the box, final third, you're just not really going to be getting on the end of getting on the end of attacks. However, your build should be strong enough to do it when it does come to that. It's more just a sort of hero ball playmaking aspect. That's sort of what you're here for. Yeah, so this has been David Beckham. I'll just give you one last little look. As I said before, you follow tutorials on YouTube if you want to have a look at faces and such, or if you're not fussed, you're more just about the playstyle itself. This is David Beckham.